And here we go with 4.2.3 to continue our modeling skills. In this model, we're going to practice a combination of our additive and subtractive modeling techniques. The first thing you should ask yourself when you look at this model is, what is the front view? And I've told you two ways to help you determine what the front view is of a model. And if you don't remember, it is the longest dimension and most detail. So my front view of this object is going to be this L shape right here, longest dimension, most detail. Now I know there is some detail here and here, but you will catch those later on with some hidden lines, and that's why I've chosen this as the front view. So when we get started in Inventor, we're going to do a new part file. Remember, we want to be in the English template, standard inch IPT. And I'm going to hit create. And then the first thing I do whenever I start a new part file is a file save as. And we're going to call this 4.2.3. And we need to navigate, so I'm going to drop this down. Where do we want to save it to? We want to scroll and go to click on this PC, so click on this PC, and then down here you're going to navigate to our shared drive. So you're going to go into your student folder and then double click into the new folder that you made for 4.2.3 and then save this file. So you go ahead and save yours into your student folder. You notice that the name changed up top and down on the bottom. Alright, so let's start with that. We got to start with the first initial sketch of the front view. So remember, we work left to right. So I'm going to click on Start 2D Sketch. I'm going to start on my XY plane, which is my front view. And I'm going to draw that L shape. So I'm going to use the line tool. And the bottom of that L shape is 3.5. So I'm going to click at the 0, 0. Remember, our sketches always start at 0, 0. I'm going to make sure I'm going directly at 0 degrees to the right. 3.5. Hit enter on the keyboard. I'm going to zoom out and pan over. Going to zoom back in and pan up a little bit. And then I'm going to go straight up. And I'm going to go up 2.5 and then over 1. So I'm going to go straight up, make sure it says 90 degrees, 2.5, and then over 1. I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to go back to the line tool. And this time I'm going to go over here and make my way back. So I'm going to left click at the 0, 0. I'm going to go straight up. At 90 degrees, hit 1, enter. Now when I go over, I'm going to make sure that I'm drawing a perfect 90-degree angle, and then I'm going to watch for right there. Do you see how it's snapped to that reference point up top? So you don't even need to know the dimension. You could just stop there, left click, boom, it just added it. I'm going to go straight up and close this, and then hit escape. Alright, move that down a little bit. So I have a fully constrained sketch. It says it down here. I got the pin over here. So I'm going to hit finish sketch. Next thing I'm going to do is extrude. So I'm going to extrude, but I'm going to go the other way. And what is the depth of this thing? The overall depth is 0.5 plus 1.5 plus 0.5. So that gives me a grand total of 2.5. So I'm going to go ahead and type that in. Now, the only problem, when I look at this model, yeah, I got the front view right, but I really don't like the way it's orientated. If you look, this one's facing this way. We can see the notch. You can see this cutout. If we keep up with ours, the notch is going to be here. So I really don't like the orientation. So let me just show you what I mean. So when we orbit, so remember shift in the mouse wheel, and when we hit the home view up here, the home view is always going to go to this. So it's almost like the model is orientated backwards. So there is a way to change the home view, but we have to get it to the view we want first. So what I'm going to do is just hold shift and the mouse wheel, and I'm going to just orbit around till I can see the back left, and top in the view cube. Okay, so you want to see back, left, and top, just like that. So shifting the mouse wheel, get the view cube looking like that. And then what I want you to do is hit this little top corner right there, and I want you to click on that. When you do that, that orientates it in the way that we want it. That's the home view that we want. So by clicking that little blue corner right there, when you see back, left, and top, we'll get it the way we want it. But now I need to set this as the home view. So to do that, I'm going to right click on the home icon up here in the view cube. So right click, and then I'm going to go down and I'm going to set current view as home, and I'm going to fit it to the view. I'm going to click on fit to view. So now if I orbit around and then I hit the home view, it goes back to that nice view that we like. So that's how you can reset the home view. The other thing is I don't want this to say back. I actually want this to say front. So I'm going to click on the back view right there, and then I'm going to right click the house again, and then I'm going to go to set current view as front. What that just did now is it identifies this is the front, this is the top, this is the right. So that's a really good orientation for this object. We'll be able to see the features nice and easy. So quick little tip there to reset your home view and reset the front view. Okay, so let's continue modeling. So that was all additive. Now let's do some subtractive. So I'm going to cut out, let's say, this top portion here. Now to do that, I need to draw a rectangular shape. I need to provide some size dimensions and some location dimensions to make sure that that cutout occurs in the exact spot that I want it to. So let's draw the rectangle first and add in some size dimensions. So that rectangle has a height of 0.5 and a width of 1.5. So I'm going to go 2D sketch on this face, and then I'm going to use the rectangle tool. Now a key thing to so we have to add in one less dimension is to snap to this top edge of our model. Now make sure you don't snap to the midpoint. Don't snap to that green dot. Make sure that the dot is yellow. If you snap to the green dot, it'll keep the rectangle right at the midpoint, which we don't want. We just want it to be aligned to the top edge of our model. So I'm just going to left click up here somewhere once and let go. And then I'm going to move my mouse. And I already forgot what our dimensions were. Our width was 1.5 and our height is 0.5. So right now I'm determining the width, so I'm going to type in 1.5. And then I'm going to press tab on the keyboard to switch to that other dimension, and I'm going to type in 0.5. Then I'm going to hit enter. And then I'm going to hit escape to get out of the rectangle tool. So I've provided the size dimensions of the rectangle, so the size is good, but the problem is the location. I don't know that this rectangle is located in the exact spot that I want it. Because it can move on this x-axis. So we can actually move this rectangle left to right. Notice it won't move up or down because it's stuck to that top edge because I clicked on that edge. So what we need to do is determine the distance from an edge to this edge so the rectangle won't be able to move. We want to fully constrain this thing. And that distance that we're looking for is going to be 0.5. So from this edge to that edge of the rectangle, it's 0.5. So I'm going to go dimension. I'm going to left click the edge of my model, and then I'm going to left click the edge of my rectangle. And then I'm going to left click to add that dimension. Type in 0.5, enter. Notice now my sketch is fully constrained. If I hit escape to get out of the dimension tool and I try and click and drag the rectangle, it's not going to move. It's fully constrained. It's got the pin. I'm ready to go, so I'm going to finish. I'm going to use a keyboard shortcut for extrude this time. I'm going to hit E on the keyboard. As soon as I do that, it goes into the extrude tool. I'm going to select this profile, but I don't want it to join. I want to cut, so I'm going to change that. And I could type in a specific distance, but I'm going to try this drop down and just choose all, which means that it's going to go through the entire model, and then I'm going to click OK. So now we did that cutout. We got one more subtractive method to use or integrate, and that is right here on this rectangle. We're going to do pretty much the exact same steps that we did up here, just on this top face of this part of the model. So we're going to draw a rectangle and we're going to snap it to this edge, and it's going to be 1.5 in depth and 0.5 for my width. And then so those are the size dimensions, and then I'm going to provide the location dimension from this edge to this edge to make sure it's in the exact spot that I want it, and that dimension will be 1. So let's start with the rectangle. 1.5 by 0.5. So we're going to do a new sketch on this face. I'm going to turn this thing. I'm going to hit this little arrow. I kind of like it orientated this way a little bit better for me. Just preference there. And then I'm going to go rectangle again. Make sure you don't snap to the midpoint, just somewhere along this edge, so you should see a yellow dot. Left click once, move your mouse, and then we said the depth was 1.5, and then I'm going to tab to the other dimension, and the width was 0.5. Okay, so I'm done drawing the rectangle. Hit escape to get out of the rectangle tool. So my size dimensions are good, but I can still move it, so it's not locked into a certain location. So I'm going to then dimension from this edge to this edge, which we said is 1. So now it's fully constrained, it's got the right sizes, it's locked in. I can now extrude cut, so I'm going to finish, extrude, cut, select my profile, and change it to all. Click OK. And that is the model. And I'm going to go ahead and do a quick save here. So go ahead and save that. And then you're going to go ahead and screen clip this. So Windows Shift S. Make sure you get the browser over there on the left, please. And then go paste this into the 4.2.3 area in your binder so you can get the full points for this.